Hello Wanderers, welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 roleplay series following Robert Baratheon in the wake of his victory in the streets of King's Landing, crushing the chest of his nemesis Rhaegar Targaryen and sending rubies scattering across the streets, much like they did in the Ruby Ford in canon. He then slew Sir Jaime Lannister, one of the most honorable of the Kingsguard, who will no doubt earn a prominent place in the White Book. Ned Stark is elsewhere in the city, but Robert Baratheon, taking his most trusted companions and most trusted soldiers, makes his way to the Red Keep, which has been on the verge of falling for months now that Robert has occupied this city. Robert forces his way into the Red Keep to face off against the last of the Targaryen defenders. The Kingsguard, at least some of those remaining, some are mysteriously absent from this moment. Well, Arthur Dayne attempts to offer Robert peace terms on behalf of his new king, but Robert, in his battle rage, will hear none of it, and he hefts his war hammer. And so, with his companions, the brothers Morrigan, Giles and Gyrid, Sir Andrew Kellington, Sir Ossifer Horp, his own brother Stannis Baratheon, facing off against some of the last remaining members of the Kingsguard in a moment much like the Tower of Joy, they do battle. One by one, Robert's companions fall, but they take down some of the Kingsguard in their own right. Even his own brother Stannis is badly wounded, finally leaving only two standing, Robert and Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning. And that is what we find ourselves in here as we face off against the greatest warrior, the greatest knight Westeros has ever known, according to George R.R. Martin himself. This is going to be an extremely difficult battle. We are fairly evenly matched in prowess, but I don't know. I don't know if we can beat this guy. We're going to need to get extremely lucky here. Yeah, let's just go in. Strike hard. We need to get extremely lucky here. Good, he got a low success chance here. We get a high one. We have to take the high ones every time. Smashing him. There's no time for subtlety. Robert is a tank in armor. He's a tank with a hammer, whereas Sir Arthur Dayne is one of the most skilled warriors in all of Westeros. And he has an incredible weapon, Dawn, a sword that is better even than a Valyrian steel sword. If we do not get extremely lucky here, we are absolutely going to die. Come on, can we take him down? Can we take him down? Oh, we do! I swing my hammer in an almost lazy feint. My opponent doesn't see my offhand dagger until it's too late, when it's already... Okay, no, this isn't a dagger move. This is definitely not. This is just Robert taking his hammer and smashing it down. Dayne, I have no doubt, and I'm gonna add this on, I have no doubt that in this moment, Arthur Dayne would get in a strike with Dawn, but Robert, just in his complete, like, berserker rage, just hammers down. I'm imagining, like, Dawn, like, plunges into Robert's side, you know, finding, like, the smallest gap in between his plates, but then Robert's hammer just comes smashing down onto Arthur Dayne's head and just like breaks his neck, crushes the helm inwards, blood and brain just splattering out. And that is it done. Arthur Dayne is dead. All right, Wanderers, welcome back. I went and did some things in the off screen to set up the scenario in the wake of Robert's victory in King's Landing there, and I'm going to show you exactly what that is. But first, I want to explain how I went and did that event. Beyond just the duel with Arthur, I actually went and simulated duels for all of the companions that were with Robert versus the Kingsguard that were defending the Red Keep there. So you'll see that Giles and Gyrid, both Morrigan brothers, were both slain by Sir Samwell Strong, Knight of the Kingsguard here. So we lost both of these. They were both with us. You'll notice that all of these companions were the Lord of Stonestruck at the time of their death. That was because I went and simulated duels for every one of them, and I needed to land them in order to be able to play as them and to simulate the duels. So both of the brothers Morgan were slain by Sir Samwell Strong. Sir Samwell Strong himself was in turn slain by Ossifer of Stonestruck. This guy wasn't even our strongest of the warriors here, but he actually managed to kill 2 of them. I'm guessing he pulled kind of like a Howland Reed move and stabbed some people in the back, because he also killed Sir Tall Lad Wheaton as well during that battle. So he won actually two duels, which was pretty crazy to see. But then he himself was slain by Arthur Dayne. Yeah, I went and simulated him versus Arthur Dayne. Let me tell you, he did not last as long as Robert did. That is for sure. Sir Andrew Kellington was also there as well. Sir Andrew Kellington, did he get a kill? Yeah, he killed Sir Parman Crane. So he managed to get a kill as well. But then he was slain by Tall Lad Wheaton. So yeah, I went and simulated all of those. Our guys did manage to get some kills, but in the end, and Stannis there got a kill as well. Stannis killed Sir Arwood Butterwell. So that was a good one by him, but he was badly wounded in that fight, severely injured. And then, of course, you will have seen that I dueled Arthur Dayne. Now, you might be wondering, where were the last remaining Kingsguard? Sir Barristan Selmy and Sir John Connington. They were not there at that fight in front of the gates of the Red Keep. They were, well, Sir Barristan Selmy, he was maimed previously in the battle, and so he was not able to fight. He was not able to fight on. But John Connington wasn't even there. John Connington absconded with Aemon and Daenerys, and he fled the city. And I like to think that as John Connington was fleeing the city, he ended up encountering Ned Stark. Keep in mind that Ned Stark was trying to reach the Red Keep while Robert was fighting Arthur Dayne and all them. Arthur Dayne and the Kingsguard, they were just a distraction. They were just holding off Robert, well, trying to kill Robert as well. But they were the distraction to allow John Connington to escape with Daenerys and Aemon and even Rhaella as well. And so they did. But I like to imagine, and this is what some people in the comments suggested as well, is that as John Connington is fleeing King's Landing, maybe he comes across Ned Stark. And Ned Stark obviously, you know, maybe recognizes them. And he recognizes his nephew. Well, he doesn't recognize his nephew because he's never seen him before, but he knows who he is. And I think Ned Stark, knowing what Robert would do if he were to catch them, keep in mind, guys, that, like, I know some people were not sure if Robert would kill them or not, but keep in mind that Ned Stark hid John's identity from Robert because he thought that Robert would kill him. Ned believes that Robert is capable of doing this, and perhaps that means that Robert is capable of doing this. He did agree to send the assassins after Daenerys as well. And so Ned knows that Robert could kill Ned's nephew, and so he allows John Connington to escape the city. And I like to imagine as well, after that, after seeing all the Kingsguard dead, after seeing those companions dead, Ned makes his way to the Red Keep. He sees Robert injured. Actually, I forgot to give Robert his injury, but I'll do that in just a moment. He sees Robert's injured, and Robert wants to, you know, they find that Aemon and Daenerys are gone. Robert wants to go after them, and Ned Stark, that's where Ned Stark, like, he puts his foot down. You know, he says that this is enough, that it has to end here. I think that's where Robert and Ned have a falling out between them. And I think that might be their friendship having fractured, is Robert wants to go after them. He wants to end the Targaryens. He wants to end this once and for all. And Ned Stark puts his foot down and refuses to allow it, and perhaps even forcefully stops Robert. Robert, at this point, keep in mind he would have been injured by Dawn. I'm gonna go and add that injury to him really quickly here. I'll just let you guys see exactly how we do that. This is kind of a wrap up thing anyway, so. But yeah, we have to assume Robert took an injury from Arthur Dayne in that battle. I mean, brutally mauled, broken, barely clinging to. He's got to be at least severely injured. Yeah, I think we're gonna add severely injured to ourselves here. I mean, maybe brutally mauled. Good Arthur. Yeah, you know what? I think maybe we do go with brutally mauled. I feel like getting stabbed by Dawn is essentially being brutally mauled there. So yeah, Robert is barely clinging to life here, but his anger sustained him. Ned Stark refuses to let him go after Aemon. The two friends break up, and I think that's when Robert, with the city secured, Robert and Ned takes his forces, and Ned heads north. Essentially, the two of them split up in the wake of the victory there. So I've gone and set things up. Try to imagine that maybe like some time has passed since what I was just describing. So Ned takes his forces to the north, and he goes with Edmure Tully, and they take River Run. They put Edmure back in River Run. Blackwood Vale had also fought with us in that war, and so I went and added them as vassals of the newly independent Kingdom of the North. I added Cape of Eagles just for, nice borders. But yeah, Blackwood Vale and River Run, obviously, we're going to side with Ned, and so we have them like that. You'll also see that there's the independent Kingdom of the Iron Islands, led by King Balon Greyjoy, and also the independent Dorne as well. You'll notice here that there is Dragonstone, which is holding part of the claw. Yeah, you'll see it here. That is Victarion Greyjoy with the Ironborn fleet here in King's Landing after the battle. Victarion takes his fleet. He captures Dragonstone. He captures the claw, and he takes those lands, and he names himself a king as well. And then what else? The Iron Throne. So what happened with the Iron Throne? What about the Tyrells and Darys and Graftons, and of course the Lannisters? Well, you'll see here that King Viserys of the Iron Throne. So Tywin Lannister, who was maimed and basically had lost that war, he still had some troops left. You'll see he's got some troops left, and with Aemon fled the city with Jon Connington. This was Tywin's opportunity to proclaim Viserys as the rightful king. Now, I didn't really mention this when I was talking about Tywin's plans before, but I think that part of what Tywin has done here is that he is essentially saying that Viserys is actually the rightful king, the rightful successor of Aerys. How can he say that? Well, you'll remember that Aerys died when Rhaegar rose up in rebellion against him. And I think this is entirely plausible. Tywin is suggesting that Aerys disinherited Rhaegar in favor of Viserys, and this is something that I think was probably even plausible, even in canon, if Rhaegar had risen up against Aerys. And so Tywin is proclaiming that Aerys, on his, before he died, proclaimed Viserys as his rightful heir, and so that is Viserys's claim to legitimacy. So in the wake of the war there, Tywin essentially gets Mace Tyrell and Lord Paramount Lyman Derry. He gets them to agree with that the legitimate claim of Viserys here and proclaiming him as the rightful king of the Iron Throne. And you might be wondering, could Tywin really pull that off? Could he get, the Tyrells and the Darys in line? You have to keep in mind that they just got their armies obliterated by by Robert here in the Battle of King's Landing. They got barely, there's barely anyone left there. The Reach has like some troops as well, but like they were badly battered and broken. And Tywin offers them some stability instead of backing Aemon, who fled the city. No, this is a king. He's 18 years old. He's a warrior king. They should proclaim him. And so Mace Tyrell, we know Mace Tyrell. He would go along with it. Lyman Derry, maybe a little bit more honorable, but he might go along with it as well. He is fickle after all. And so Tywin gets them in line and he keeps these kingdoms together. But Robert Baratheon held King's Landing and he didn't just give it up. Who holds King's Landing now? Yeah, Stannis. I gave it to Stannis. You got to give King's Landing to the Manus here. And I the way I see it is that they didn't just leave King's Landing because Robert understands that if somebody can take King's Landing, then they're just gonna, that just gives them the legitimacy to take back over the Seven Kingdoms. But if they don't hold King's Landing, then that legitimacy is much, much reduced. And so Robert charges Stannis with holding King's Landing and preventing anyone from taking it while he rides back to Storm's End. You'll notice that Viserys here is in Castamere. That was land given to him by Tywin. Now, I imagine that as soon as Viserys can wed Para Lannister here and have a child with her, I imagine that Viserys' life expectancy would go down quite quickly. But yeah, that's the situation there. What about Prince Aemon and Daenerys? Well, they are with Jon Connington, and he fled with them to Pentos. Now, you might be wondering why not go to like one of the loyalists, like Mace Tyrell. And he probably is planning this, but Mace Tyrell has sworn fealty now to Viserys. I imagine that Jon Connington might have been trying to make his way down there, but I mean, that's a dangerous journey to make. You got to go through the Stepstones. You got to go around Dorne, the Stormlands to get your way over to here. And then perhaps he heard that Viserys has been proclaimed the king. And he knows that there's going to be assassins coming after him. So Jon Connington, in order to protect Aemon and Daenerys, he is taking them to Pentos here, in hiding, essentially. So yeah, that's the situation. I'm sure you guys have your own thoughts on how that all could have played out. And yeah, I mean, this is just what I thought would made sense and would be cool. And yeah, I think it all works out pretty well and potentially could lead into a very interesting continuance of the story. But the question is, what happens with Robert? I was very, very tempted to have Robert leave the Stormlands, to leave this kingdom to his brother Stannis, and Robert just goes back and he becomes a mercenary. But I don't know, then I kind of came around to this idea that he just goes back to Storm's End to brood in darkness and to drink and to, he lost his best friend. I took away, he no longer has his friendship with Ned Stark. He's got a rivalry with Tywin Lannister for killing Jaime. I think that Robert just goes to Storm's End and he's gonna become a bitter man. He killed Rhaegar and now he has nothing left. There's literally nothing left for him. And so I think he might end up losing himself in drink. One thing that I actually want to do, we noticed that Robert only has daughters. His wife now, Queen Rhaena, is quite old as well. So hard to say if she's gonna have any more kids. But one thing that I want to do, just in case that in case he doesn't, we do have Princess Alice Baratheon. Our second daughter here is betrothed to Quentin Martell. That was how we got the alliance with the Dornish to fight in that war. But I think that I honestly think that well, we can't obviously let a non-matrilineal marriage go through here. I think that we're gonna legitimize Maya Stone here. Keep in mind that you know, our wife is not even necessarily a highborn lady, so you know, there's not really much different. Do we legitimize a bastard? I think that's pretty cool. And Maya Stone here, she's an interesting character, and our wife won't like it, but Robert's, he's drunk, and he likes Maya, and you know, she could be a good heir for him. And so I think that's what we're gonna do. We're going to name her Princess Maya Baratheon. So there we go. She will be our new heir. We have to find her a potential marriage. Definitely not a Frey. Let's look for alliance power. We got to do matrilineal as well. The Tyroshi. Ironwood. Ironwood's a good one. Waymar Royce. Oh my gosh, this is Waymar Royce. Is this the Waymar Royce that dies in the very first chapter? Oh man, that probably is. We might pick him. Roland Storm, Cassander Selmy. Ironborns, Riverlanders, Marchers, Graftons. Oh, we could get no, she's quite a bit older there. Karstarks, no. Michael Redfort. Oh, this is I'm gonna do this. This Michael Redfort here, this is actually the character that Maya Stone, I'm pretty sure she had a crush on this guy in the actual books. I recall his name when I was reading up on her earlier. I'm pretty sure Michael Redfort is the guy. I think she ends up hating him, but they had that thing between them. I think that's where we're gonna pick, just because it fits with the story there. So yeah, that's the situation there. All right, so we got that marriage there. Maya is going to be potentially the queen of the Stormlands, and yeah, we've got Edmure here. Edmure's holding River One, thankfully, once again. The betrothal between Robb and our family was broken, and yeah, the ties between Ned and us are definitely frayed. Could we become friends again? I don't really know. I mean, that remains to be seen, and I think that will remain to be seen perhaps in another season. I know this might be an interesting time to end things. You know, we normally end when a character dies, but I don't think that we can continue a series called The Exiled Stag when Robert Baratheon is no longer in exile. And I think that we're going to need to remove his name as well, because he is no longer the usurper, or the would-be usurper. I think they called him the usurper like mockingly, like he attempted to be the usurper and failed. But now I think he needs a new nickname. So leave some comments down below. What do you think Robert's would be called in this timeline here? What do you think of the events? And what do you think of us having a season 2 where we play as not Aemon at first, but as Jon Connington, protector of Aemon and Daenerys? What do you guys think? Do we want to have another season? Is there another character you would be interested in seeing us play? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to support the channel and if you want to have a character in the next season, whether that be in Game of Thrones or another mod or in the base game, if you want to have your own character like Giles and Gyrid, the Morrigan brothers, Andrew Kellington, Maester Julian, Ossifer Horp, Wendell Weaver, Commander Goodmund, any of these guys, if you want to have a character like this, just click that join button down below this YouTube video, become a channel member at the counselor level or above, and you too could get a character in our next series. Until then, Wanderers, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.